good afternoon. I know everybody's still eating. Hopefully not too many people are in line, but we wanted to get started so we have plenty of time for this afternoon's program. So again, good afternoon and welcome to the 2020 Mayoral Luncheon with the Honorable Neil M. O'Leary. My name is Bill Palumbo. I'm with Blazia Chevrolet and Cadillac, and I have the privilege of serving as Vice Chairman of the Public Policy for the Waterbury Regional Chamber. So I'd like to move forward with as little preamble as possible, but because I did want to allow as much time for the mayor's presentation as possible, but I did need to do a couple things first, and that is to acknowledge the slew of state and municipal officials and dignitaries that are in the room with us here today, and we thank them for coming. And these include State Representative Geraldo Reyes Jr., State Representative Ron Napoli Jr., Alderman Chris Dorso, Michael D. Giancarlo, and George Nugent, Superintendent of Schools Verna Ruffin, Police Chief Fernando Spagnuolo, and Fire Chief Terry Ballou. We are also pleased to have the following chief elected officers and municipal officials of our neighboring communities who have joined us today, including Bethlehem First Selectman Lana Sard, Middlebury First Selectman Ed St. John, Naugatuck Mayor Pete Hess, Oxford First Selectman George Temple, Shelton Mayor Mark Loretti, Southbury First Selectman Jeff Manville, Thomaston First Selectman Ed Moan, Wolcott Mayor Tom Dunn, and Watertown Acting Town Manager John Gavalis. We got them all together today. Welcome. So today's event is supported by many companies that value the Chamber's public policy efforts and have strong interest in the success of the city. In particular, we are grateful for our platinum sponsors, KBE Building Corporation and Post University. We want to thank them both for their tremendous support for this event. KBE Building Corporation has many projects underway throughout the greater Waterbury area and is committed to the Chamber in our region. And Mike Kolakowski is President and CEO of KBE, and I'd like to have him come up just to say a few words. Mike?
Good afternoon, everybody, and as was stated, my name is Mike Kolakowski, and I'm President and CEO of KBE Building Corporation. Welcome, everybody, and thank you, Mayor O'Leary, for giving us this opportunity to say a few words. For those of you who may not know much about KBE, we are a 61-year-old Connecticut construction firm based in Farmington, Connecticut. We've had the pleasure of building over 15 projects here in the city of Waterbury over the past number of years. The last project that we were involved with was the Consolidated Public Works Facility, which I think has been a great benefit to the residents here in the city of Waterbury. Waterbury is clearly a city of growth and opportunity. As a business owner, I'm heartened by the continued economic strength of our region, and I applaud the focus and the dedication of Mayor O'Leary and his team to help keep Waterbury at the forefront of that growth. So again, thank you and congratulations to the city of Waterbury.
Thank you, Mike. Again, a special thanks to Post University, not only for their generous support today, but for all they do for the Chamber and the region. It's very greatly appreciated. On either side of me, you'll see a list of all the sponsors for today's event, and we'd like to offer them a sincere round of thanks, because without them, this could not be possible. Thank you. So today's luncheon is one of a series of events produced on behalf of our Chamber's Public Policy Committee. The committee and the Executive Committee of the Chamber's Board of Directors also worked to develop our 2020 municipal agenda, copies of which are on your table in front of you. The agenda is meant to reflect issues that are vital not only to the city's business community, but also to the city's residents as well. And we hope you'll take time to take a look at that at your own leisure. So as promised, let's get right to it. Since I'm fairly confident that most people in the audience today need no introduction to our featured speaker, I'll forego one and take great pleasure in welcoming to the podium Mayor Neil M. O'Leary for his State of the City address.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for braving out the coronavirus. I see by the number of people in the room that you're braver than some. I just found out on the way here that the state of Connecticut was canceling, or the CIAC was canceling all the postseason high school basketball games for the rest of the year, for both the boys and the girls. And there's rumors that there's more to come this afternoon from the state side. So stay tuned, everyone. This is probably going to be a very interesting ride that we're on. But for now, I think I'll just get right to the speech so I don't get myself in any trouble. So thank you again for being here at the 2020 luncheon. I'd first like to offer a special thanks to the Waterbury Regional Chamber of Commerce, their president and CEO, Lynn Ward. Thank you once again for putting this great event together. Today, during my State of the City presentation, I look forward to sharing with all of you what we've accomplished, not only in the last 4 years, but in the last 4 years before that, and what we expect to work on in the up and coming years, I should say. We will obviously continue to promote fiscal stability, economic development, and improvement of the quality of life here in the city of Waterbury. First and foremost, a big thank you to today's sponsors, who are major stakeholders in this community. Certainly thank Mike from KBE for your kind words, but I gotta tell you, every project that the city of Waterbury got involved with KBE is a project that came in on time, under budget, and exceeded all expectations. And just delighted to have KBE and all these sponsors here with us today. And thank you to Grant Copeland and the Works Group for volunteering to help us put today's event together. Before I move forward with the rest of my address, I'd like to take a moment to recognize the giants of industry. This was 2019 was a particularly rough year for Waterbury and some of the losses that we experienced. Bert Albert, Chuck Kellogg, William J. Pape, Edward Shaker, and Robert Garthwaite, Sr. Each of those gentlemen I've had the pleasure to spend hours with over the years, both as my role as police officer, police chief, and mayor, and each one of them gave me the mentoring and the guidance that I'll never forget, and very direct conversations. And there's just something about today's world, we don't seem to have that any longer. We seem to dance and we seem to kid and joke, and then we finally get to the punchline when no one's paying attention. Each of those 5 gentlemen, the punchline came in the first 30 seconds of the conversation, and the rest of it came later. Turning over to economic development. Since coming into office in December 2011, obviously economic development and brownfield assessment, remediation, and redevelopment were 2 of the major core functions of our administration. Over the last 8 years, successful projects in the city's central business district and brownfield revitalization initiatives are currently generating over $12 million annually in property tax revenue and annual tenant lease income. Although the local economy has changed in many different ways, manufacturing still, and probably always will, remain the backbone of the region's economy. According to the Connecticut Economic Resource Center, CERC, 2019 town profile, there are 131 manufacturing businesses in and around Waterbury, which employ 3,339 employees. I must mention that CERC has recently changed its name to Advanced CT. Jim Smith serves as co-chair of the organization, and we're grateful to have his voice representing the interests of Waterbury. In Waterbury, we have and continue to see strong resurgence in all areas of manufacturing. For instance, Platt & Livonia, an industrial leader specializing in custom cabinets, cases, and displays, has just relocated to 182 East Aurora Street and will bring 60 new jobs to Waterbury. Guy Ferriello, who is president and CEO of Platt & Livonia, is here with us today. KT Corporation, a manufacturer of water filters, has opened their facility at 137 Mattatuck Heights. President Dr. Kevin Kozlow reported they have currently hired 18 employees and are planning on bringing that number to 60 by year's end. Thank you, Dr. Kozlow. Model Craft Manufacturing has a significant presence in Thomaston. They've just opened up a nice small manufacturing facility on South Main Street in Waterbury, hiring 8 new employees with many more expected during this calendar year. Bob King, King Industries. As many of you know, the $48 million Waterbury Industrial Commons project is completed. WIC is the home to Levada, Atlantic Steel and Processing, Precision Wire Cut, and King Industries. We'll hear now more from Bob King about why King Industries has chosen Waterbury as their future home for their new world headquarters.
As it stands right now, we really have no room to expand in our 6 acres that we have in Norwalk. We've been in Norwalk, Connecticut for about 87 years. And being that Norwalk is closer to New York City, we've seen it turn from a manufacturing town to a condo and office type of town, particularly in the downtown where we're located. With this project, we have the opportunity to almost double our area of which we can grow. So we really liked Waterbury first from the location of it. We liked the location. It was right at the crossroads of Route 8 and I-84, which gives us a back route into the Port of Newark, where 50% of our products go out to Europe and Asia. So being within 1/8 of a mile of exit and on-ramp of Route 8 really gave us a good location. But what really throws it over the top is when you see the educational support being put into schools to support manufacturers in the area. That really threw us over the top to know that this city is so supportive of manufacturing, where we really felt at home, and also we really felt that we would be successful here as a company within Waterbury.
Thank you. Brownfield redevelopment is seen obviously as an integral component of current and future economic development within the city of Waterbury. Brownfields have been the city's biggest obstacle to the provision of pad-ready properties for development, not only in Waterbury, but most cities in Connecticut. Here we have been highly successful working with state, federal, and private partners to transform our environmentally scarred land and return this land onto the grand list. I've got to give a special shout out to Gary O'Connor and the work that he's done not only legislatively, but also with our city to move the city forward so that we could gain our grant, successfully apply and get grant money for the projects that are ongoing. At the moment, we have 22 separate brownfield projects going on here in the city of Waterbury. The successes we've seen so far are the Waterbury Industrial Commons, the Department of Public Works, Jonathan Reed, Pal Park, Torco, and there's many more, but those are the largest ones that really required the most investment, both from our federal, state partners, but also an awful lot of work from the city of Waterbury as well to get these sites open and back on the tax rolls. The Matico site is the new home to our senior center, St. Mary's Health Center, and Eastside Funeral Home. Also, one of our most recent successful brownfield projects, this is kind of fun, it's the Brass City Regional Food Hub, located on a former brownfield on Mill Street here in the city of Waterbury, and also located in a United States Department of Agriculture food desert. The city of Waterbury and Brass City Harvest partnered to create the first regional food hub here in the state of Connecticut. This trailblazing facility will create jobs, provide local farms a best practice facility to wash their produce, and provide local residents with access to quality produce. This past spring, we were joined by Lieutenant Governor Susan Bisowitz, Department of Agriculture Commissioner Brian Herbert for the project's groundbreaking. I'm happy to report that Sue Pronovost has the keys to the food hub, is in the final stages of preparing the facility for operations. Upcoming brownfield projects. This slide showcases 3 brownfield sites that we are actively focusing on this year. Furthest to the left is the 18-acre Animet site. Positioned on the banks of the Naugatuck River, this site once employed hundreds of people as the largest global manufacturer of flexible metal hose. The plant closed in 2000, and in 2017, the city bought the property. I believe this site is a key piece of our South End revitalization strategy. At my request, the governor, the lieutenant governor, and the DECD Commissioner David Lehman have all visited the site. I showed them the $1.8 million worth of demolition work that was completed this past summer and made the case to secure additional funding to complete demolition work and remediate the site. Currently, we are preparing to replace the roof on the 220,000 square foot industrial building on this site. I believe that this expansive building with high ceilings and overhead cranes is the perfect location for one or more manufacturers. In the middle of the screen is the former Environmental Waste Resources Company, otherwise known as the Anaconda Brass, from way back in the day. And that's located at 130 Freight Street. As a part of last September's funding from the State Bond Commission for Waterbury's next Phase 2, the City of Waterbury received $1.5 million for the demolition and debris removal of this site, again located at 130 Freight Street. This 10-acre parcel is a key component of the ongoing Freight Street revitalization efforts. Demolition and remediation of this site will lead to prime redevelopment opportunities. The city is in the process of acquiring this property through foreclosure. We anticipate that we will have the title to this property on April 7th of this year. To your right is the Mill Street Little League field. The City of Waterbury obtained a $3 million grant from the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection to construct a recreational field. After meeting with the public and hearing their voices, it was decided that the best use would be a Little League field for the children in the South End. I commend Representative Jerry Reyes for his fine work on this project. We have received approval from DECD for entry into the Connecticut Brownfields Remediation and Revitalization Program, and we expect that by late fall, a completed baseball field will stand where a fire-ravaged mill once stood. Manufacturing, retail, healthcare, education, and entertainment are key contributors to the City of Waterbury's grand list growth and employment opportunities. Retention, expansion, and new small businesses are essential to this administration's continued efforts to engage our community and spur synergy throughout the city. I'd like to thank all of our manufacturers, restaurants, delis, coffee shops, cleaners, insurance offices, accountants, attorneys, and urgent care centers that have chosen to call Waterbury home. Small and large business owners alike invest their time and money in our community and inspire us on a daily basis to continue making Waterbury a great place to live, work, and play. I'd also like to mention, if you're driving on 84, both east or west, anytime recently, you can see the new construction of Hoffman BMW. They just recently we just cut that ribbon, and they're building that operation out there. It's about a $7 million investment. We're grateful to have them. City of Waterbury understands that economic development is increasingly regional in scope. This administration recognizes that there are shared benefits in growth and development, such as the ability to undertake larger projects, attraction of an educated and talented workforce, stronger housing markets, career creation, and the growth of our tax base. In January, after nearly a year of planning with Mayor Hess of Naugatuck, Jim Smith, Gary O'Connor, Mike O'Connor, the Naugatuck Valley Regional Development Corporation was formed, and the new board of directors was incorporated. The formation of the NVRDC is part of a much broader vision for economic development, something very new and out of the box that will extend far into the future and will allow Waterbury, Naugatuck, and other municipalities the opportunity to scale our collective efforts to improve the region. You heard on the introductions today that most of the town leaders from our Valley COG are here, and they're all seated over there. You gave them a nice round of applause. I'd like to thank you. I've been lucky enough to chair that COG. It's a 19-town COG for the last 6 years. And the thing I enjoyed most about the COG, and I would kind of hope that sometimes some of our legislators might join us a little more frequently, because we all like each other. We all get along. There's no partisan politics. And at the end of the meeting, we'd like to think that we shake hands or go to lunch together. And I would love to have that kind of synergy take a path up to Hartford. In January, after nearly a year of planning with Mayor Hess of Naugatuck, excuse me, I'm sorry, I lost my place because I got myself in trouble. The formation of a great example of an ongoing regional, that's why Mac makes me read off this, because I very rarely get in trouble when I follow the script. A great example of an ongoing regional effort in the Naugatuck Waterbury Industrial Park, located in a qualified federal opportunity zone. This is that piece on the south end of Waterbury that everyone's talked about for the last 40 or 50 years. It's 135 acres. Half of it's in Waterbury and the other half of it is in Naugatuck. Attempts were made to convert this parcel that straddles the Waterbury-Naugatuck line into a shopping center, a rock quarry, a horse track, a casino, and last but not least, an IMAX theater. However, a steep rocky hill where a road would be excavated in Waterbury made past development endeavors prohibitively expensive. With the goal of unlocking the economic and grand list growth potential of this site, alternate approaches were studied by Mayor Hess and myself. Ultimately, the borough of Naugatuck and the city came together in a regional effort to jointly purchase 10.5 acres of land located in Naugatuck that could be developed into an access road into this 135-acre piece of property. Together, we obtained a $2.8 million appropriation from the State Bond Commission for the construction of a roadway and utilities from Naugatuck into Waterbury. An RFP for site development was released last week, and we're excited to see what proposals come in. This could be a very, very amazing project, and this is all part of what we're trying to accomplish with a regional development scheme. We feel very strongly that, you know, if Waterbury is good, the surrounding towns are good. But we also feel very strongly that the surrounding towns have some assets and shovel-ready projects that we may not necessarily have that may fit those towns in a way that we have never studied before. That's why I'm so happy to have that table full of town leaders here, because we're really excited about some of the opportunities that may be in front of us. When I first ran for mayor, there had been very few initiative plans or programs introduced at the city level aimed at bringing economic vitality and prosperity back to our historic downtown. Upon being elected to serve as your mayor, I went to work developing an investment strategy for downtown called Waterbury Next. In 2014, at my request, the state of Connecticut awarded a $12.2 million grant to the city of Waterbury called exactly that, quote, Waterbury Next. The strategy consisted of 6 initiatives developed to build on the momentum of the city's recent revitalization and called for a series of strategic private-public partnerships that would position downtown Waterbury to turn the corner as a sustainable place to invest, live, work, and have fun. With your support, we have restored the Green as a crown jewel of Waterbury's downtown. We have renovated the Rectory building, in turn producing a substantial lease income with our arrangement with the University of Connecticut, right across the street. We have demolished the Prospect Street ramp garage and have begun planning for the construction of surface parking at this location. And through a private-public partnership, we have transformed the Holland Hughes building, the Lombard Brown building, and in this coming year, the Oddfellows Hall located at 36 North Main Street. A number of years ago, I had the fortune of meeting Lou Forster and Joe Gramando of Green Hub Development Corporation. These gentlemen and their belief in Waterbury has developed into a partnership that has changed the face of downtown Waterbury. Many, if not all of you, are aware that in December 2018, Holland Hughes, the largest commercial building in Waterbury's downtown, opened its doors for the first time since 1995. Thanks to the vision of Post University President John Hopkins, Post moved their Center for Online Graduate Classes, Administrative Offices, and Information Technology Center to Waterbury's downtown. Post has met and surpassed their commitment to the city of Waterbury in terms of the number of employees they would be bringing downtown. Currently, there's 460 Post employees downtown. However, we expect that number to rise to 500 employees by the end of this calendar year and 600 employees by the end of 2021. Just as importantly, Post has weaved itself into the fabric of Waterbury's community. They are an ever-present sponsor of local events and initiatives. As the host of Santa's Workshop, they brought smiles to the faces of generations of Waterburyans by refurbishing the old Holland Hughes Christmas window display. And on February 11th, Waterbury Public Schools and Post University announced a partnership. This partnership will provide our high school students the opportunity to obtain an associate's degree while in high school as part of an early college high school program. I could go on and on about John and Post, but I really want to say in front of all of you here today is thank you, Post University. The most recent chapter in the city's private-public partnership with Green Hub Development is the revitalization of Oddfellows Hall. This long vacant building is situated directly across the street from the recently renovated Green and down the street from the newly redeveloped Holland Hughes. The city took possession of this historic building for unpaid taxes in 2013 through summary foreclosure, and in September 2018, the State Bond Commission approved $15.5 million grant to the city of Waterbury to fund what's now called Waterbury Next Phase 2. As part of this grant, the city received $10 million for the renovation of 36 North Main Street, better known as, I mentioned, Oddfellows Hall. After issuing a request for proposals, the disposition and redevelopment of the building, after a lengthy review and interview process, the committee selected Green Hub's redevelopment plan. There has already been great interest in this building, and after the work that Green Hub completed at Holland Hughes and the Lombard Brown building, I look forward to seeing the transformation of Oddfellows Hall and its new use. In addition to the $10 million grant for the renovation of Oddfellows Hall, Waterbury Next Phase 2 included a $4 million commitment to fund an overhaul of our East Main Street corridor from the Exchange Place to the police station. Initially, our idea was to completely overhaul the infrastructure and create an aesthetically pleasing corridor with new pavement, crosswalks, new benches, lighting, bus shelters. However, as we began to examine what was underneath the ground, we've recognized that the water main, 30-inch water main, by the way, is over 100 years old, and it runs right through the middle of Exchange Place through the North Main Street, South Main Street, and Bank Street intersect. With the support of the Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments, which is our COG, Connecticut Department of Transportation, this administration applied for and received an additional $7 million in Local Transportation Capital Improvement Program, otherwise known as LOTCIP, to expand our streetscape project down into North Main Street, down into South Main Street, and Bank Street. Many people have shared with me their excitement about these improvements, but I also understand this project will cause inconveniences to our downtown merchants. I want everyone to know we hear these concerns, and I'm committed to working with these merchants, the Chamber of Commerce, and the Main Street Waterbury to minimize the impact of these improvements. However, I want to impress upon everyone here today the critical importance of meeting these infrastructure challenges head on. The price of complacency and the act of kicking the can down the road, in my opinion, is wholly unacceptable. In fact, in my office, for those of you that have been there and for those of you that haven't, there's a picture of a 110-year-old valve that was taken out of a water main break up in Bunker Hill. The problem with the water main infrastructure in the city, and quite frankly in every city in Connecticut and most of New England, is when you have a water main break, the first thing the water department does is go to the valve nearest to the water main break to shut it down. The problem is, about 50 to 60% of the time, the valve is broken because it's been under the ground for 110 years and it doesn't work. So you keep going to the next valve. As you go to the next valve and the next valve, the water is coming out of the ground and damaging everything around it, including obviously the roadway, any businesses that are nearby, and causing all kinds of destruction and damage. We're really trying desperately to recognize that we have to stop making believe that we don't have this issue, and we really need to examine it more closely, because if we don't, our next generation will, and it'll be that much more costly, that much more inconvenient, and quite frankly, that much more unsafe. So we're really taking a very aggressive approach to our water main issue, and that's why I have the valve in my office, because it reminds me every day of what a problem we have. Let's move on to the train station. Currently, a highly anticipated train station parking lot revitalization project is underway. It's taken every day of the 8 years that I've been in office. I believe this project, in concert with our ongoing efforts to improve and expand service on the Waterbury rail line, are key components to the future transit-oriented development in downtown Waterbury. In the photo on your right, you will see the recently installed granite curb cuts and new light poles. You may have seen or read about our recent efforts surrounding the Waterbury rail line. Again, the NVCOG has been a huge part of all of that. The proposed Waterbury rail line improvement program, in my opinion, in the opinion of those gentlemen at the table, is the single most important infrastructure project impacting Waterbury and the Naugatuck Valley region. The economic and quality of life benefits that expanded service and new modern rail equipment will bring to our city and region are immense. Investment in the Waterbury rail line will revitalize downtown areas in Waterbury and across the valley, and spur transit-oriented development around stations all along the rail line. Currently, 1,100 people commute from Waterbury to Lower Fairfield County, and many of them end up in Manhattan every day. New trains and expanded service will increase ridership and provide an on-time and regular train schedule for our residents who rely on rail to commute each and every day from work. The good news is that the state of Connecticut, our request, the COG, NVCOG, and the town leaders' request, has already invested about $116 million in track and signal upgrades over the last several years that are a prerequisite for expanded service and the current running of trains. I, along with chief elected officials from Shelton to Torrington, as well as our collective state delegations, are committed to working in a bipartisan fashion to secure critically needed train cars and funding for the expanded service. I'm asking that the greater Waterbury business community join our campaign. Your voice is strong and critically needed as we compete for a finite amount of state funding. Please talk to myself or Chief of Staff if you're interested in getting involved. So you all know that the rail line, I think you know, is a single rail line. And so years ago, we all went to the governor, at the time Governor Malloy, and explained how important we felt it was to expand the rail service. As a matter of fact, the data had shown that just by adding one car in 2008 increased ridership 34%. And we feel it's vitally important for the future of the valley and the city of Waterbury, and quite frankly, all the way north to Torrington. And so we worked with the DOT, we worked with the engineers, and we were able to get the resignalization and what's called sidings. I don't know, I'll assume that some of you don't know what sidings are. Sidings are for single rail lines. So when you have a northbound train on the line and a southbound train coming up from Bridgeport, one of them can move over onto the siding and let the other one go by. Currently, there are 4 sidings under construction. One has been completed, the other 3 are close to completion. In addition to sidings, in order to comply with the federal transportation rail laws, you have to have resignalization. So the resignalization is vitally important for, obviously, for safety reasons. And so right now we are what's called a dark line. But once we have the resignalization complete, we will be able to have north and southbound trains at the same time. And as important as that is, we believe we'll be able to have freight cars. So right now you can have freight cars from 1:30 to 4:30 in the morning, which makes it impractical. Once we get to be a 2-way train line with resignalization, which will all happen, by the way, in about 15 months from now. $116 million has been invested thanks to the Malloy administration, and thanks to their commitment to the Waterbury rail line. We believe strongly that once all this investment is made, and we've been testifying in Hartford recently on this ad nauseum, but we believe that once all this is done, we can have our trains, we can give our commuters an opportunity to go back and forth, we can have new locomotives and cars, and we have been lobbying very, very hard to try to get this done, as every town in the valley recognizes that this is the key. We have so many people who commute from Bridgeport to Waterbury to work in our manufacturing operations. We have so many people from Waterbury who commute all the way down into Manhattan for stopping at various places along the way for their own employment opportunities. And you would be amazed at how many people actually ride the rail line to get to their jobs at Waterbury Hospital or St. Mary's. So we're very excited to keep the momentum going, and we're obviously very, very committed. And our state delegation is a key part of this initiative, to stay together as a unit to keep the pressure on for getting what we're asking for. In April of 2014, our administration submitted an application for a highly competitive federal Tiger grant. In September, we were notified that Waterbury would be awarded $14.4 million to fund an integrated system of downtown transportation improvements. Phase 1 of the Freight Street improvements were completed in May of 2018. Phase 2 and 3 are well underway. I have to take a moment to commend Attorney Lynn McHale and Judy Mancini in my office for staying on top of this project. It is on time and on budget. And if you drive down Freight Street or West Main Street, you will see the reconstruction and extension of Jackson Street taking shape. This phase of the project will create a new north-south connection to downtown. This ties in perfectly with the project I spoke of, the Brownfield project, the former EWR at 130 Freight Street, and all the other interesting nuances that have been going on downtown in that Freight Street area. We're very confident that this is going to be a successful venture for the city of Waterbury and the federal government's partnership. Once completed, Meadow Street will have new pavement and updated pedestrian crossings. I'm told that that big hump or bump or whatever you want to call that in Meadow Street, I'm told that won't be there any longer. Matatuck Museum in 2018, our Waterbury delegation secured a $3 million grant from DECD for the expansion of the museum. Coupled with pledges and a capital improvement plan, we believe this expansion could bring an additional $1 million annually to the local economy. In my recent conversation with Bob Burns, he shared that the museum has completed pouring the foundation, scaffolding has gone up, so the masons can begin constructing the elevator tower, and soon everyone will see the progress outside and above the fence. We are currently anticipating project completion in November, with the museum opening hopefully in the spring of 2021. The Greenway, the never-ending project. Progress continues, I'm told, on the Waterbury Greenway project. Through the hard, I'm really forcing myself to read the script. Through the hard work of Waterbury Greenway Advisory Committee and their chair, Kenny Curran, who has been a remarkable leader on this project, Design work has been completed. This spring, a bid will be advertised for construction of the first phase of the Greenway project. This phase will be constructed along South Main Street from Eagle Street to Platts Mills Road, along Platts Mills Road westerly to the vicinity of the Naugatuck Borough line for a total distance of 2.2 miles. The improvements will include the installation of a 10-foot wide paved multi-use trail, installation of a prefabricated pedestrian bridge over Hopeville Pond Brook, and the construction of various park features in the vicinity of the northwest corner of the intersection of South Main Street and Platts Mill Road. We're really excited about this project. And the lady, Mimi, who donated the parkland to us down there, is in her mid-90s, and we're really trying hard to get this done for her. The city's most recent school construction project broke ground in October of 2019. I'm switching gears pretty quick on you guys. The new Wendell Cross School will serve students in pre-K through 8th grade with 3 classrooms per grade. This new school will have the capacity to serve over 675 students, meeting current and future needs of Waterbury's East End. YMCA. During my tenure as mayor, we decided that the opportunity to purchase and acquire Rose Hill was a unique opportunity that we could not slip through our hands. The perception of having a juvenile lockup facility 1 block north of the Green and one of the most beautiful historic pieces of property in Waterbury was just unacceptable. With the support of the Board of Aldermen and with a $1 million grant from the state of Connecticut, the city purchased this property for $2.7 million and established a lease sale agreement with the YMCA. Take a moment to shout out to Jim O'Rourke and his board for the great work and vision that they had putting this deal together. Through this campus expansion, the YMCA has been able to renovate the lower 2 buildings and now serves 180 pre-K to 5 students on a daily basis through their child development and school age programs. Additionally, the Rose Hill Mansion is currently the temporary home to the Mattituck Museum. Due to the generosity of local foundations and donors, as well as support from the City of Waterbury and the State of Connecticut, this project has enabled the YMCA to invest more resources into the education of our city's youth. Moving on to theaters, the City of Waterbury is fortunate to be home to 2 fantastic theaters, the Palace and Seven Angels. Together, they offer the residents of Waterbury and beyond an opportunity to experience world-class performances and culture right here in the Brass City. I'd like to thank Seven Angels Theater Artistic Director Samina De Laurentiis, as well as Chief Executive Office of the Palace Theater, Frank Tabera, and the Palace Board of Directors for all they do to keep arts and culture thriving in our community. Policing. Policing has changed a lot since I went on the police department in 1980, but one thing that has not changed is that good policing is rooted in strong community relations. Since assuming the role of chief over a year and a half ago, Chief of Police Fred Spagnolo has brought both tangible and visionary changes to the department in an effort to provide the greatest quality of service to the citizens of Waterbury. The chief has doubled down on community relations as an effective crime fighting and prevention strategy, and continues to build strong connections with neighborhoods and community groups across this city. The results of this hard work are evident. When comparing the 2019 calendar year crime statistics to that of the 2018 calendar year, we have seen violent crime reduced by 36%. This includes a 44% drop in homicides, a 39% drop in robberies, and a 38.5% drop in aggravated assaults. I'm very proud of the police department. Downtown community events. Downtown Waterbury has and continues to be a popular location for community events. Despite the closure of Library Park for renovations, we have had highly successful events downtown where various community groups have utilized Grand Street as a home for street festival style events, including The Gathering, the Brew and Q, Make Music Day, Mayor's Kids Marathon, and the Brass City Jazz Fest. I believe firmly that community events provide an opportunity for our residents to come together and celebrate our commonalities and our differences. This past summer, Waterbury residents celebrated our city's rich cultural heritage at the 7th annual gathering. More than 100 different countries were represented, and every single one of our public schools participated in the parade, and it was very cool. Community development. Through the support of the Harold Webster Smith Foundation and Jim and Kathy Smith, the City of Waterbury has been able to hire a community development planner who has been charged with following through with a list of recommendations put forth in a study conducted by the Center of Community Progress, which was also funded by the Harold Webster Smith Foundation. Dan Pesch serves as the city's community development planner and has worked with community groups and the Waterbury Neighborhood Council to assess community needs and streamline blight and remediation efforts. Over the last year, a collection of 30,000 parcels in the city were surveyed and assessed for blight. Prior to the creation of this database, the city did not have concrete numbers regarding the conditions of all of our residential properties. Once the recommendations put forth by the Harold Webster Smith Foundation and the Center of Community Progress is to establish a land bank. The first step in establishing a land bank in Waterbury was the creation of land bank legislation in the state of Connecticut. The city of Waterbury lobbied the legislature the entire session, last session, and this past summer, House Bill 7277, quote, an act concerning the creation of land bank authorities, was signed into law by Governor Lamont. After becoming law, Dan Pesch, Captain Lauer, and the Harold Webster Smith Foundation, we visited Newburgh, New York, and met with their land bank staff to examine the successes they have had in developing the work they've been doing in Newburgh. In addition, we have also established a land bank advisory committee, which has recently selected a consultant to help us determine the correct framework and move forward the creation of a transparent, effective land bank. I'm very eager for the city's land bank to get off the ground. As I tell my staff, I wish the process was completed yesterday. Kathy Awad and the Workforce Board, with great support from Kathy and the Board of Directors, the Manufacturing Alliance Service Center is a city resource that provides in high demand, high quality manufacturing training tailored to the needs of our employers. The goal of MASC is to equip program participants with the skills necessary for a career in manufacturing. By training these individuals, we are helping to ensure that skilled workforce is prepared to meet the demands of the city's partners in industry. Manufacturing programs that are available at MASC include CNC, which is computerized numeric control, entry-level programming, fundamentals of manufacturing technology, manufacturing machinist technology program, and the shipyard outside the machinist program. We also provide English mentoring and blueprint mentoring as well. These training opportunities are available to folks from all different walks of life, including veterans, high school students, individuals faced with long-term unemployment, reentry individuals, and most importantly, we just got a young man who was on the spectrum who just graduated and has attained a job in a manufacturing facility. Let's hear from Kathy Awad about the important role that MASC plays in the city's workforce.
I'm here at the Manufacturing Alliance Service Corps, also known as MASC, here where manufacturers can send current employees to upskill or job seekers in our area can come to learn the manufacturing trade. We have to have an educated workforce. So we have a currently skilled workforce and we need a pipeline of workers to be able to fill the ongoing job creation. Dr. Ruffin has worked closely with the mayor to develop career pathways in our high schools, the Waterbury Career Academy, and next year we'll see opportunity to all our comprehensive high schools for students to enter career pipelines in manufacturing, in construction, and healthcare that will fill the jobs that the mayor is working to bring to Waterbury. The center here at MASC, which the mayor had the foresight to make sure would be viable, allows a multitude of different types of populations to train here for jobs in manufacturing. We have summer youth programs, we have after-school programs for our high school students. We have opportunities for our returning veterans. We have opportunities for your regular job seeker who's either looking for a new opportunity or moving on. We have incumbent worker trainings that are coming here. Companies sending folks here to continue to skill up so that their companies can continue to grow here in Waterbury. And we also have the opportunity for the ex-offenders and the reentry population to come here and learn a skill set that allows them to come back into our community and be contributing members of society.
Thank you, Kath. As many of you know, Kathy wears many hats, the most prominent being that as director of the Northwest Regional Investment Board. Kathy leads the board in their change to develop and sustain an effective labor market system that facilitates economic development and business growth in our region. The Good Jobs Ordinance and the dedicated efforts of Kathy and her team provide training for workers in high-demand labor markets is a key contribution in supporting businesses in our community. Now we're going to jump over to the Allied Health Center. This past June, I was joined by members of the University of Connecticut's administration and leaders in state government, our delegation, for the announcement that the Yukon Waterbury branch was being designated as the Center for Excellence in Allied Health Sciences. This designation and the introduction of enhanced course offerings was the culmination of years of collaboration and would not have been possible without the leadership and support of Governor Lamont, Dr. Bill Pizzuto, and our state delegation. We're about to hear from St. Mary's president, Dr. Steve Schneider, who will offer his thoughts on the importance of aligning curriculum and course offerings with the needs of our local industry. But first, I want to take an opportunity to talk about what this means to our city's students. Up until this point, the University of Connecticut students interested in a degree in Allied Health Sciences, which is of course one of the nation's fastest growing career fields, had to travel to the University of Connecticut's campus in Storrs, which is 56 miles away. When you tack on the cost of housing, meal plans, or commuting back and forth, the endeavor became cost prohibitive, so many of our students and their families just couldn't do it. With the development of the Yukon Allied Health Science degree program here in Waterbury, our students will be able to earn a bachelor's degree right here at the Waterbury branch and a ticket to a brighter future here in downtown Waterbury. Now let's hear from Dr. Schneider.
Healthcare is growing probably faster than any other industry in the United States. As employers, there's a projected growth of almost 25% over the next few years. The two largest industries and employers in Waterbury after the city itself are the city's hospitals. I am very excited that we're going to be having a program for allied health at the Yukon campus here in Waterbury. I think it's one of the most exciting developments, integrating Yukon downtown site and the hospitals in Waterbury. I think the way that it will affect the city of Waterbury is it will significantly provide new jobs to people graduating in Waterbury, staying in Waterbury. One of the things I'm hopeful for as the program develops is we would love to even be part of their educational process. Right now, St. Mary's has nursing students. We have students from colleges all over the state coming here. We have medical students. And to have these allied health students maybe doing some of their clinical education at our hospital would be wonderful. At St. Mary's, we really love to hire local graduates because those are people with deep ties to the community and they tend to stay for a long time. They're loyal, they're hardworking, they have great fundamental ethics and values, and it will enhance the downtown area by having these young people having good reasons to be downtown.
Thank you, Doctor. Moving on to Naugatuck Valley Community College, Dr. Daisy Coco DeFilippis and the wonderful NVCC team have been amazing partners with the city on initiatives like workforce preparation and development, Since May 2013, the college's Advanced Manufacturing Technology Center has awarded 433 Fundamentals of Machine Technology certificates, 375 Advanced Manufacturing Machine Technology certificates, and 671 National Institute for Metalworking Skills certificate. This type of workforce preparation answers both a local and statewide need for skilled workers. In addition to the police department's great work outlined in a previous slide, a statistic I'm particularly proud of is the decrease in auto thefts that have occurred in the city of Waterbury. Year over year, there were 315 less cars stolen in 2019 when compared to 2018, which equates to a 37% reduction. I'm proud of Chief Spagnuolo and the Waterbury Police Department and the strides that we have made. I'm committed to continuing to work in a collaborative fashion to slow down or stop crime. These efforts include a working group that I have formed with the mayors of Bridgeport, Hartford, and New Haven. Together we are working to communicate outstanding challenges, discuss techniques that have been successful in crime remediation, and ultimately we'll be identifying an urban crime agenda soon. Just last week, our working group had the pleasure of meeting with Connecticut's new Chief State's Attorney, Richard Colangelo. Let's hear from Chief Spagnuolo on how the Waterbury Police Department is working with every segment of our community to prevent crime and keep Waterbury safe.
The mission of the Waterbury Police Department is to protect with vigilance and serve with impartiality, all while promoting strong partnerships with our community. Some of our greatest programs that assist us in protecting the city of Waterbury are the community outreach and the network and partnerships that we have with all our neighborhood organizations throughout the city. With strong support from the city's administration and the mayor's office, we're able to conduct fairs all throughout the city where we invite all our citizens and community members to come and join us and learn about government services that are available to assist folks that may be in need. Throughout the calendar year of 2019, we saw significant reductions in crime throughout the city of Waterbury, especially in violent crime. There was nearly a 37% reduction in the amount of violent crime that occurred in this city during the calendar year 2019. There were a lot less shootings, a lot less homicides. Auto theft was reduced by nearly 50%. An effort that I think has had a significant impact on violent crime here in the city of Waterbury is a program called Project Safe Neighborhoods. It targets people involved in violent acts of crime, specifically gun crime, that occurs here in the city of Waterbury. Through those partnerships, we make sure that the people that are being released back into the community that we know have a propensity to engage in violent crime receive support needed to try to get on their feet and find a different path. One of our strongest relationships that we hold coveted here at the Waterbury Police Department are our relationships with the Waterbury Chamber of Commerce, Main Street Waterbury, the Mayor's Office, and the Economic Development arm of the Mayor's Office. It's important for us to make sure that we participate with those groups and organizations to continue to promote downtown and keep downtown a safe place that people from all over the region and really all over the state want to come and visit. You know, it's important for us to work with our business partners and help them through any challenges that they may have downtown when it comes to the area of public safety, and we're very committed to that.
Thank you, Fred. Opioid crisis. All of us in this room have been touched by the opioid crisis in some fashion or another. This is a disease that does not discriminate based on color, class, creed, or socioeconomic status. Like all small towns and big cities across the country, Waterbury has and continues to struggle with the size and scope of this epidemic. However, I promise you that our resolve to overcome this crisis is strong, and we have doubled down on our efforts. Matt keeps using that word, double down, and he's a blackjack player. In January, I was pleased to announce the launch of a new program, the Waterbury Warm Handoff Program. The goals of this program are to increase the number of opioid users in addiction treatment services and to decrease the number of overdoses and overdose deaths in our city by deploying behavioral health professionals directly into the field. The City of Waterbury was awarded $920,000 by way of 2 highly competitive state and federal grants to launch this program, and related opioid response services. We believe that this program will help ensure that opioid overdose victims are linked to the substance abuse treatment and mental and medical health services that they obviously need desperately. City of Waterbury schools, moving on, are the foundation of our city. Over the last 7 years, this administration has completed more than 10 school construction and/or modernization projects. Taking care of our students is how we take care of our future and ensure Waterbury continues to grow and prosper. Up until recently, I have been frustrated by the inability of our public school system to move the needle forward in areas such as high school graduation rates and other related areas. Over the past, well, let's see, it's already been, Dr. Ruffin, almost a year and a half. A year and a half ago, we conducted a national search for Superintendent Dr. Verna Ruffin. Dr. Ruffin is an out-of-box thinker who knows the status quo is not good enough for Waterbury students or their parents. Dr. Ruffin has implemented a number of initiatives aimed at improving our students' educational experience and performance. Dr. Ruffin has instituted career pathways for all students. Dr. Ruffin has collaborated with Post University to create the Early College High School program. Dr. Ruffin has established the Academic Academy for Achieving Students who require an enriched academic performance. I know we have a long way to go, but we have already seen affirmation that Dr. Ruffin's bold, no-nonsense approach is working. But I'd like to take a moment at this time to talk about the Board of Education. I sat on the Board of Education for about 2.5 years, and I'd love to tell you it was pleasant. It wasn't. But I will say this, I am so proud of the Board of Education that has been unanimously standing behind Dr. Ruffin and supporting her at every venture that she's undertaken in just the year and a half that she's been here. I'm really proud of the leadership of the Board of Education, and I'm very proud of all the members of the Board of Education. Ann Sweeney, thank you. For example, the state of Connecticut Department of Education, this is good, evaluates schools and districts on several performance indicators in addition to high-stakes assessment scores. These indicators are student achievement, student growth, chronic absenteeism, college and career readiness, graduation rates, post-secondary entrance, and physical fitness, and arts and sciences. The Department of Education the State Department of Education takes these indicators and incorporates them into a formula to provide each school in the district an accountability index score. According to the most recent Next Generation Accountability Index results, the Waterbury Public Schools has shown the greatest increase in the overall accountability index since 2015-16 when compared to all other towns and cities in Connecticut that serve students in grades pre-K to 12th grade. Dr. Ruffin, we applaud you and your administration's efforts and the school board, and I unequivocally stand behind you as your board. Let's hear from Dr. Ruffin herself.
One of our main focus in Waterbury is academic excellence. We've seen some successes in our students' academic performance in literacy as well as in mathematics. We have a long way to go. We've noticed that we need to be quite strategic about our after-school programming for our students, and we need to offer opportunities for students in an extended learning environment to provide them learning beyond the traditional school day. It's important to recognize the human capital aspect of not only being able to recruit outstanding teachers, but also to develop professionally as well as retaining high-quality professional development for all of our teachers and all of our educators. We've also added, and we're proud that we will be opening in the fall of 2020 in partnership with Post University, an early college high school at Crosby High School. This early college high school offers students an opportunity to begin taking college courses as freshmen with the understanding that they will have an opportunity to focus on career pathways that may allow them to graduate from high school not only with a diploma, but also with an associate's degree from post-university. It expands our career pathways that we are also going to be offering in all of our comprehensive high schools, with a focus not only on early college high school, but opportunities for credentialing at all of our high schools, and an opportunity to really hone in on the skills that are important in economic development, not only for Waterbury, but also for the state of Connecticut.
Thank you, Dr. Ruffin. Big round of applause. Thank you. We'll finish up today's presentation with measurable achievements, and we'll summarize some things that have happened. So from 2012 to 2019, over 100 new businesses have opened in the city of Waterbury. These new businesses have yielded over 3,300 jobs. Currently, I'm going faster now. There is new construction and business expansions taking place across the city, which will bring additional jobs and Grand List growth. The continual growth in the Grand List year over year is reflective of the ongoing economic resurgence in the city. New and existing businesses are in fact investing in Waterbury. And Martha Kellogg, we really would like to have Hubbard Hall stay right here in our beautiful city. Thank you. Personal property increased $28 million as new and existing businesses invested in new machinery, equipment, and other business income generating property. When I entered office in December 2011, the city of Waterbury and our great nation were reeling from the largest financial collapse since the Great Depression. Since being sworn into office, I have made the creation of good-paying jobs a key component of my economic development strategy. Over the last 8 years, Waterbury has ushered in a new era of economic growth. This dynamic growth has yielded millions of dollars in additional property tax revenue, grown our Grand List, and helped reduce the city's unemployment rate from 14.3% in 2011 to 5.3% in November of 2019. The increase we have seen in the average sale price of our single-family and multifamily houses is double the New Haven County average and is only getting better. Thanks to Doug Rose, Vice President of Asset Services for Caldwell Baker, and the Scalzo Group for compiling these statistics. During my time as mayor, Waterbury has continued to work its way up the rating scale in regard to bond rating. We've received four bond rating upgrades over the last 8 years. In January, all 3 rating agencies reaffirmed our strong AA- long-term credit rating with a continued stable outlook. The city's AA- rating is just 3 notches from the highest rating available, equal to that of Stamford, and stronger than that of any other cities in Connecticut, including the state, by the way. Just think how far we've come. In 2001, the city's bond rating was BBB- junk bond rating. The most recent reports issued from the rating agencies emphasized the city's financial management and stated the city is considered very strong in maintaining and adhering to a strong set of financial policies and controls. My administration's fiscally conservative approach to budgeting is a great point of pride for all of us. The first budget I oversaw as mayor was for fiscal year 2013. Between then and now, this administration has held annual year-over-year budget increases to an average of 1.15%, and the budget we're putting together this year will see a 1.14% increase over last year. The combination of the city's strong bond credit ratings and fully capitalizing on our market timing produced a very successful new money bond sale refunding for the city in January. Interest cost savings of over $12 million were achieved with the new money issuance and refunding. I will end now, but I just wanted to say, first of all, once again, thank you to all of you who are here today, and I'm really appreciative and wondered how many of you would show up with all this going on with the the coronavirus. It's just amazing to me, but again, I'm going to stay away from that. I knew, first of all, I need to acknowledge some folks. I need to acknowledge Al Bagnini and Power Station for putting all this together with our audio and video, as well as the Works Group. I need to acknowledge our state delegation, We have an interesting state delegation here in Waterbury, and they try really hard. And you heard about all these awards that we've gotten, a lot, multiple millions of dollars in bond authorizations over the last 8 years. And I commend each and every one of them for the hard work that they've done. I also commend the folks in my office, and I've listed them quickly: Mike LeBlanc, Sarah Gary, Joe McGraw, Monroe, Judy, David, George, Kenny, Tia, Allie, Desra, and of course Waterbury DC Corporation and Dan Page. You know, it's fun doing this job, and it's more fun because we have such a great office, and you just can't do this stuff alone. And the truth is, it really is amazing to stand in front of all of you and talk so proudly of the city because of the work that's been done. But I will say this, and I'll say it very clearly: the support that we receive from the chamber is amazing, and you're all business-minded folks. And you know, we haven't had a property tax increase in 5 years, and we're not going to have another one next year. But I can tell you, you know, it's because of the support that we get from the business community and the investment into the city of Waterbury that's so vitally important. So I thank each and every one of you for being here. I don't know if we have time for any Q&A. I would love to have any Q&A you want. It's 1:32. We have time. Let's go.
Talk about your radio show, what it's like to take live phone calls with no screening.
It's been interesting, that's what it's been. So we started the radio show the first Thursday of every month since taking office 8 years ago. So it's been fun. I mean, it's really cool because it's a very successful show. The phones light up immediately, and the hour goes by quickly. And you really, as Tom Hill points out, you never know what the questions are going to be. Some of them, or most of them, are really great. Some of them are not so great, but we get through it. Next question. Anyone else? Come on. Easy crowd.
Talk about the new marketing plan you're working on for the city.
Okay. So that's going to take longer than a couple of minutes, but I'll keep it to a couple of minutes. We're excited to get involved in the marketing plan and a rebranding plan for the city. You know, we've had some great successes over the last 8 years, but, you know, through the last 40 or 50 years, we've had some struggles, right? We don't need to go down that road, but the city has always suffered from a perception issue, whether I go anywhere in Connecticut, outside of Connecticut, Washington, D.C., no matter where I go, people say, "Where are you from?" "Waterbury." "Ooh, you know, how's it going there?" "It's going good. We're doing okay. We're a lot better than we were." "Oh, you got to be a great guy to be the mayor of Waterbury, Connecticut." I guess they don't know me that well, but you know, the truth is, I really feel that we need to start pushing the city forward in a more significant way. And we need to talk about our assets, like first of all, our cultural assets, but and our education, our school system, our kids, the successes, and all the good things that are going on in Waterbury. And then we need to get the message out that we're open for business, that we have shovel-ready brownfields that are good to go. We're going to continue to have shovel-ready brownfields. We're going to entice our business community not only to stay, but to expand. And we're also going to continue to bring and support bring in as many new businesses as we can. We've been really successful in bringing in new businesses, and it's because we have a good story to tell. And yes, our mill rate is high, but we're not raising taxes, and we haven't in a long time. And at the end of the day, in 2022, we see a lot of debt come off from those dark years in 2001. And in 2038, I don't think I'll be standing here, hopefully, but I hope all of you will be here. In 2038, whoever is the mayor is going to have a great party because we're losing an enormous amount of debt from those pension obligation bonds. So the city's future is bright. And you just need to go to Standard & Poor's or Kroll's or Fitch and tell the story of the city of Waterbury's successes and look at where we were. Look at where we were and how we were, and look at where we are today. And it's been through a great board of aldermen, it's been through a great state delegation, a great business community, and leadership that doesn't quit, just says we're not giving up on this project. So I'm really proud, and I think with the rebranding marketing, I think it'll get our message out there in a broader universe, a much broader universe, to let people know Waterbury is back on the road to recovery in a huge way. And by the way, our bond rating is equal to Stamford, Connecticut. Who ever could have thought that could happen? And better than our competing cities. That's a good story to tell. Thank you, everybody, so much.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you all for being here. We really value the relationship of the business community with the city of Waterbury, and especially with our Mayor O'Leary. So how about another round of applause for our mayor? Bill touched upon the municipal agenda briefly. I just want you to please take this with you, take a look at it, see how our Public Policy Committee, our Board of Directors, and our entire membership does care about the inner happenings in the city of Waterbury. And if you want to be involved in our public policy efforts, please contact all of us. Stay in touch, visit waterburychamber.com. We will have notices about our happenings as they come up and as things transpire in our community. Thank you all for being here again. Have a great afternoon.